At this time, we do have Dr. Obiuwevbi Ominimini, the Pan-Niger spokesperson. I know I must have murdered your name. I do apologize for that. But thank you so much for being on the news tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Great. You described his passing as the mighty Iroko tree that has fallen. This is a strong metaphor. First, our condolences to you and Pandef. Please tell us, how are you personally processing this loss? And what does it mean for Nigeria at this time?
In fact, the death of our father, Chief Edwin Clark, is a great loss not only to Niger-Deltans, but to Nigeria at large. You will agree with me that the principle Chief Edwin Clark stood for, Papa Clark stood for, is a principle for national building. He believes on equality. He believes on the rule of law, where the law should be applied to everybody within a given country equally. Chief Clark believed that no man should be treated like a second-class citizen in Nigeria. This was why, throughout his lifetime, even as a teacher, even as a headmaster, even as a lawyer, most of the cases Chief Edwin Clark did were pro bono, were cases he did for people to ensure that justice prevailed. That was Chief Clark for you. So Chief Clark cannot actually be described as a Niger-Delta leader. He's a nationalist who believed in the unity of this country. That is why, at a time when the oil dwindled to about 700 barrels per day, Chief Clark set up two teams, Team A and Team B. And these teams went into the creek to talk to the youths of Niger-Delta. And upon this strategic engagement of the youths of Niger-Delta, the oil production arose to about 1,700 and 2,000 barrels per day. Okay. So Chief Clark must be described as a nationalist who believes in the nation Nigeria. Granted.
But for the people of Ijaw and the Niger-Delta, he was a fierce defender. Looking back, what impact would you say that his leadership had on the region? Do you think he felt fulfilled in the fight for equity, justice, and fairness for the Niger-Delta region?
The last statement of Chief Clark was that I love Nigeria. Nigeria is my country. That was the last statement of Sunday before he was moved to hospital. So until Chief Clark died, he was still fighting because he knew that all the things he was fighting for had not been achieved. But he did not take up to anti-constitutional means. He believed in engagement, he believed in dialogue, and he believed in preaching the principle of a nation. That was what Chief Clark believed. And as we speak, some of the things he fought for had not been achieved. For example, today in Niger-Delta, the environment is still devastated. Today in Niger-Delta, our people cannot farm, our people cannot fish. Today in Nigeria, the people from Niger-Delta, South-South geopolitical zone, have been excluded from participating in the critical business area in the oil industry.
So would you say he was not a fulfilled man when it came to fight for justice?
Chief Clark lived a fulfilled life.
Great.
He lived a fulfilled life and achieved so many things in this country. Number one, Chief Clark was behind the Southern and Middle Belt Leaders Forum. So that forum brought the people of Southern Nigeria, Ohaneze Ndigbo, Afenifere, Pandem, and the Middle Belt together. And with that, we achieved a lot for this country. Okay. The unity you have today in Nigeria, Chief Clark it can be ascribed to the effort of people like Chief Clark.
Just before we let you go, let me ask you, I mean, when you look at the crop of politicians and activists that we have today, do you see the kind of conviction and courage that drove the likes of Chief Edwin Clark? And what next for PANDEF?
On mentorship, Chief Clark has mentored a lot of people who can take off with a speed of light from where Chief Clark stopped. So Chief Clark has mentored a lot of people all over the years. And luckily, Chief Clark has been able to establish PANDEF on a very strong footing. The national chairman of PANDEF today, Ambassador Godnozigali, he was a permanent secretary, Ministry of Power. He was permanent secretary, Federal Ministry of Water Resources. He has been ambassador to so many countries. He has been a special advisor to President Olusegun Obasanjo and special advisor to President Yar'Adua. So he's a man that knows the length and breadth of this country.
He also fought with, he had different relationship with different administration. For some he fought, for some he praised. What is the relationship, or what was the relationship with this administration?
Chief Clark was guided by principle. Of course, prior to the 2023 general election, Chief Clark believed that it was the turn of Southern Nigeria to produce the president for this country. And he also believed that the Igbo tribe should not be alienated. The Igbo tribe should not be deprived in administering Nigeria, because at the time, the Igbos wanted to leave this country. And the entire Nigeria said, you cannot leave. So Chief Clark, as an Ijoma, as an Urobo man, as a Shekiri man, as an Isoko man, fought to ensure that the Igbos were given their due space in this country. That was why I told you that the popularity and the legacy of Chief Clark goes beyond the Niger-Delta.
Dr. Ominimini, stay with us, PANDEF spokesperson. Let's now bring in the Minister of Regional Development, Abubakar Momoh, who joins us remotely. Minister, thank you so much for joining us on the news tonight. First, let me ask you, how did you receive the news of Edwin Clark's passing? You knew him personally. What did he mean to you?
Thank you very much. I think I was on my this morning when I got the news of the death of Edwin Clark. I was very much touched for the simple reason that it's about 2.5 weeks ago that I paid my last visit to him in his residence. And we had very good discussion. And each time I visited him, it will always be a very thrilling one, because his voice was always loud and clear. And when I got the news today, I felt very bad. But for one reason, because I'm going to miss all those pieces of advice that he was always offering me each time I visited him. In fact, I came to know him very closely when I became a Ministry of Niger-Delta and now Ministry of Regional Development. And each time I visited him, he would always take me through all that he was doing in those days, both in Delta and Edo State, which of course was a Midwest region. The man has a very sharp, retentive memory on so many issues. So his death, of course, apart from being that going to celebrate it, is very cheap, because for anybody who knew Edwin Clark, is a man that you love to stay with anytime, any day.
Minister, for decades, we know that Chief Edwin Clark fought for environmental justice and development in the Niger-Delta region. But despite the decades of advocacy, the region still faces pollution, poverty, and neglect, like we have just heard from the PANDEF spokespersons. What's the concrete step that your ministry is taking to change that, to ensure that his fight was not in vain?
I think Chief Edwin Clark stood for the betterment of life of the people of Niger-Delta, and he was among those people who fought for the creation of the NDDC and the Ministry of Niger-Delta Development. And today, the ministry and the NDDC is doing a lot in the Niger-Delta region. If you go to so many communities today, such communities that before now never received the impact of government. There are quite a number of projects that are going on under the ministry and the NDDC. I think the only way by which what Mr. Edwin Clark stood for is not lost, is to ensure that a number of things are being done to immortalize his name. And I can assure you that the ministry and the Niger-Delta, which is a regional body that's charged with the development of Niger-Delta, has a number of projects to show for the creation. And recently, when the ministry was renamed from Ministry of Niger-Delta to Ministry of Regional Development, I paid him a visit and was totally against the change of name from the Ministry of Niger-Delta to the Ministry of Regional Development. And the simple reason why he did that is that by the time he changed to Regional Development, it means that all the efforts and what they stood for would have been lost. But I made it clear to him that it is just a change of nomenclature, and that as we were made to understand, the South-South was also going to have its own regional development. And not up to 2 weeks, the Senate also passed the South-South Development Commission. And he made it clear to me that, yes, the only way he will allow this change from Ministry of Niger-Delta to regional development is if we are sure of getting our own South-South Development Commission, which of course the Senate has also passed. So for me, I think he's a man that needs to be commended for what he stood for as far as the people of Niger-Delta is concerned.
And as Pandev has described him, is a tall Iroko that has fallen. A lot of people have said is big shoes he has left behind to be filled. Is there anyone who can fill those shoes that Chief Edwin Clark has left behind in the Niger-Delta region? You had close interactions with him. What was it like behind closed doors?
Well, I think he's a man of so many parts. Like you have said, it's going to be pretty difficult to get somebody to fill Edwin Clark's shoe. But I know with time, there could be somebody. But for now, it's also very, very difficult. Because apart from being a tall figure in the Niger-Delta, he was an advocate of unity of the entire country. And the man stood for justice. And a very fearless critic. And like what Ominimini has said, the man abhors injustice. And it's one man that each time you are with him, you feel very satisfied with what would have told you. So I think it's going to be a total loss for us in the Niger-Delta, because for now we are still searching that we are going to get somebody to fill his shoe so that we continue from there.
Honorable Minister, are there any plans? I know this is very quick. It hit a lot of us as a surprise and shock. Are there any plans to immortalize him in the region from your ministry?
Well, the issue of immortalizing him in the region, you know, that is beyond the decision of the ministry. We have so many state governments, and I'm quite sure that by the time the various state governments come together, a decision will be taken to that very effect. And moreover, too, the National Assembly, I'm sure, as the man died yesterday, I'm sure 1 or 2 members would have been preparing a motion or a bill to immortalize him. So you look at these various levels if you want to talk of immortalization. But we also, at our ministerial level, make suggestions. But the implementation of such suggestions lies in the hands of the various state governments and the National Assembly, where they can pass resolutions and bills to get him immortalized.
And let me ask you, we know he was an unrepentant advocate for resource control. He believed the goose that laid the golden egg should enjoy it the most. Now that he has left the stage, what's the future of resource control? People are clamoring for 30% derivation at 30% ownership. What's the future of resource control, Minister?
Well, the future remains bright because there are quite a number of persons that he has mentored, and they will take off from there. Today, we now have a new leader of PADEF, and I'm sure he worked with him closely, and he knew where he stands. So I don't think his death will sort of shut down those areas that he was pursuing. There are quite a number of people who are seen in the system who are very much conversant with where it belongs in terms of resource control and all other issues. So it's a battle that will continue from there.
Thank you so much, Honorable Minister for Regional Development, Abubakar Momoh, for being on the news tonight. Well, let me come back to you, Dr. Ominimini, before we wrap up. Let me just ask you the same question I put to the Minister. Who fills these shoes that Pa Edwin Clark has left? And what's the future for resource control? Are you optimistic?
For example, let me make a categorical statement. President Tinubu is a beneficiary of the struggle of Chief Clark. Atiku was a close friend of Chief Clark, but in the last election, Chief Clark believed that the presidency must come to southern Nigeria. In collaboration with Ohaneze Ndigbo, with Afenifere, Pandef, under the leadership of Chief Clark, and Middle Belt Forum, fought that the presidency must rotate to southern Nigeria. So Tinubu, that is president today, is enjoying the good work of Chief Clark. And with respect to immortalization, I'm sure it will be done at the regional level and at the national level. Chief Clark deserves that. However, God has a way of sustaining his people. The Niger-Delta has been in the news for many years, even before Nigeria independence. You will agree with me that the Willis Commission was set up as a result of the struggle of the people of Niger-Delta. Chief Clark was deputy to Pa Adagbabriye. And since then, the Niger-Delta has been on the struggle. As for the region, we believe there will be light at the end of the tunnel, because Chief Clark has mentored a lot of people, and people of the region believed in his principle.
Great.
So as we stay with this principle, we believe that God will give us light at the end of the tunnel.
Oh, wait to say thank you so much for being on the news. Once again, our condolences. Dr. Ominimini is the PANDEF spokesperson.
Thank you very much.